I'm Megan Sapseed and I am a project manager. So essentially the project manager could be seen as the umbrella of the project team that they are working with. So a project will typically be a fixed time frame between A and B within fixed costs, various requirements that have to be completed within a certain time frame, and different team members will have to complete those tasks. So it's my job to make sure that each member knows what they're doing and that each task gets completed as per the specification within the timeframes permitted. Besides all the core GCSEs, like maths, English and sciences that you can choose, I was really interested in geography. I really like geography. I really liked French as well. I really liked PE, so very much a bit of a mix. My favourite one that I did was psychology, and that's what I continued on in college, along with geography, maths and PE again. Still being my favourite, I took psychology to university and did experimental psychology, and I still think within this role and within the roles I've done previously, that's been the most useful thing I could have done. It's very understanding people, understanding situations and being able to read situations and different behaviours. And that's proved very useful with a range of not so easy clients or trying to understand the abilities of different team members within my project team at the time. I think more so it's a degree across any discipline. It's just more showing that you're able to apply yourself under time pressure, which is pretty much what this role is. There are other qualifications beyond degree level, but in terms of actual school education and university education, any degree that shows your competencies is fine. The main one that is recognised, actually I think worldwide, is the Prince 2 qualification, and this basically stands for Project and Controlled Environments, which is what project management is. There's two different levels. You can do the foundation or the practitioner. The former allows you to be part of a project team, and the latter allows you to lead a project team. And most jobs that you go for project management will have this as a prerequisite for you to be able to do it. I've done it with the company that I'm in now, so even if you find yourself in a different role and transferring across within the company you're in, most of the time that company will invest in you to do it because, as I say, it's recognised so worldwide that it's well worth having. So it's a very intense 5-day course. I think you can do it in various locations across the UK. There's a huge range of them, probably 30 plus. You can also do the courses online via virtual learning. And the first couple of days are very intense days with about 4 hours of homework each night. On the third day, you'll do the foundation exam, which is essentially just an hour-long multiple choice exam within the classroom setting. You've got another 2 intense days to do, and then you have the practitioner exam, which is a 2.5-hour online proctored exam. And then, hopefully, if all goes well, you're qualified. Upon qualification of Prince 2, you then join the APM, which is the Association for Project Managers in the UK. And from there, I know that you can get a lot of support. You can get a lot of templates, guidance, everything from there. So yeah, it's really useful. It's nice to know that that is there as well for further learning. Soft skills wise, I think largely you just have to be fairly confident and you have to be very, very organised. You've also got to be very diplomatic, and there's a huge element of empathy that comes into it. You have to be that person that various team members can come to when there's a bottleneck, for example, and they can feel confident enough to communicate to you so that you can get it across to the client. So yeah, you have to be very empathetic, you have to be very flexible, and you have to be able to work well under pressure. There's a lot of very tight deadlines as a project manager that you have to meet. I think hard skills wise, it's more so just being very organised with documentation. As a project manager, you can't be scared of the numerous pages and pages of documents you have to fill out, and make sure that everything that you've done is signed off. We do use various Microsoft packages. One of them is probably that people might be less familiar with is Microsoft Project, and that one you have to get fairly up to speed on very quickly in project management. When I was studying for my Prince 2 course, I realised how much there was out there that allows you to get to grips on the different tools used in project management. There's also a lot of monitoring against costs and time, so there's a lot of things that help you, lots of programs that help you develop the skills to do that, and skills that take you through how to document and how to build plans. If you are learning on the job, you're often surrounded by quite a strong team, and because within each project you've got team members who are all subject matter experts in their area, whether it be marketing or data or finance, you've got those various team members can also help you build together what you need. When I was younger, I worked in House of Fraser for a while, and I think that was just more probably to do with interaction with a lot of different people. You wouldn't know who you'd come across in the day, so probably building up levels of confidence. And I also worked for a while as a sales support administrator in an insurance broker, and that was really interesting too, because that was kind of learning how to put together different bits of documentation, learning how to speak to different people of different levels, and kind of learning how to work to very tight deadlines that were set by the sales team. So yeah, I think they were really helpful actually. When I first began, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, and the careers advice I'd had previously wasn't too informative. It was more so, if you'd like to be a doctor, do this. If you want to be a dentist, do this. But so I kind of found myself just looking to see where I fell in a way. Started a job within a support team, which was really useful because it meant I got to know a lot of different areas of the company, and immediately starting there, kind of having my eye on different places where I think I might be suited or things I might enjoy. From there, I moved into being a product consultant, which is essentially known, I think, better known as an implementation consultant in the UK, and pretty much is just a business analyst within a product setting, so within confines. Whilst doing that, I realised that being the product consultant within a project team, I really enjoyed projects and working face-to-face with clients, and from there realised that if I want to kind of focus on that side of things, the next best step would be being a project manager, which is how I've ended up here. I don't think there is a typical day as a PM. Every day is hugely different. Probably one of the things I like most and dislike the most about the role. But yeah, a typical day, I suppose, is a lot of interaction, a lot of being up and about talking to various team members. Each of my projects will be with a different set of people each time. So there's a lot of internal communication, a lot of external communication with the client, because I'll be the main point of contact. A lot of documentation, so writing up things like a project initiation document, and most days I'll have 2 or 3 weekly meetings with the client and the project team just to keep up to date on progress and any direct actions we're working on at the time. Initially, when we make contact with the client is when they've already agreed to take the project forward. So we will have usually a face-to-face meeting with the client, with salesperson, with anyone relevant in the project team, and we will gather their requirements. So essentially putting together a huge list of everything they expect to receive by the end of the project, and using that, I will put together the project initiation document, which is essentially just an outline of what is to be expected, what is not expected, and therefore we can completely rule out if it's brought up. And then most importantly, a list of various dependencies, risks, constraints, and things like that, because most of the time within a project, mitigating the risk is the main thing and probably the hardest thing to get done. So we get a document like that put together and sent through to the client for sign off. Once we've got that all signed off, then usually the wheels start in motion for putting the actual solution together for the client. Once the ideas and pretty much what we've said we're going to build is put into play, so perhaps just drafted up so they can see potentially what they're likely to be getting, we then start putting it together properly, and then we'll go through various rounds of testing with a client just so that they can ensure that what they've asked for is exactly what they're getting. And then we should hopefully, in an ideal world, sign it off and move on to the next project. I think it's probably working with a huge variety of people. No one project, no one day is the same. So it's really nice being able to go over to one of the team members who's an SME in a certain area. Something that goes completely over my head, they understand it, and it's really exciting. And it's being able to be that person that the team can rely on and trust, and the person that the client can rely on and trust. Yeah, it's nice. I think again, it's being that person that people try and rely on. So, for example, because kind of you're that person that's given the promise that you'll deliver the project to the client in a kind of in the way they want it to, by the time they want it to be there by. The difficult part's not meeting those deadlines, because as everyone knows, as life happens, things change, things will be added to the scope, timelines can change. It's more just making sure that the client's continually updated and happy. So that can be very difficult, and it can be very difficult trying to be that person who's trying to orchestrate and delegate amongst a lot of different people, or who might have different priorities within the project. So it can be very stressful trying to meet very tight deadlines a lot of the time. I think, to be honest, a project management role, you can almost come in from anywhere, as long as you have the right personality type is more the thing you'll need to manage. If you want to go straight into project management, I think you can go in as an associate project manager. And this essentially is just working with another project manager just to watch how they run projects and to help out largely with the documentation side of things. But like me, if you are someone who works within the project team anyway, perhaps on a marketing side, a data side, a technical side, as long as you've got the right personality, you can kind of enter from anywhere, I suppose. Within project management, it's more so the type of project that you would be working towards. So you might start with quite a small, relatively low risk project, and the more senior you get, the level of complexity and the level of risk and mitigation that you would need to do increases. Otherwise, taking on the skills that you would have learned from being a PM, you're probably able to go into a variety of different roles. You could probably jump into sales from there if you wanted to. I interact with anyone and everyone. Largely it's just to make sure that whilst it's easy to sit at a desk and delegate out levels of work to people, you need to make sure that everyone that has a certain action associated with them knows the priority levels and knows what they're doing and feels comfortable and confident doing it. So most of the time I'll probably interact with a lot of team members and then various levels of stakeholder depending on the project type. And the main one is the client. Always the client. I thought it was more to do with meeting timelines and meeting budgets, which it is largely, but I didn't realise that it's much more to do with managing expectation and managing the team and making sure that when things don't go to plan, this is how I'm dealing with it, rather than making sure everything always goes to plan. to be confident with what you want to do. If you know you have a certain skill set, there's definitely a job out there that matches it. It might not be the standard doctor, dentist, teacher that you see, but there's always something that will match it, and just not to shy away from challenges when you see them. Just look at it as something exciting to do, to take off the pressure of being perfect in the situation, and just kind of learn your way up, and to just take the opportunities you're given and just align yourself with what you believe you're best at with your skill set.